Behind the cold walls of prison, some inmates strike fear like no others. Their violent pasts and chilling actions make them the most dreaded men behind bars. For the first time, we get a rare look at these infamous individuals caught on camera. Men whose crimes unsettle both the public and their fellow inmates. Prepare to meet the men who have turned prisons into places of dread, leaving a lasting mark on those who cross their paths. Their stories are not just about crime. They're about the darkness that can exist within. Number 10. Thomas Edward Silverstein. Thomas Edward Silverstein was born on February 4, 1952, in Long Beach, California, and his life was marked by hardship from an early age. His mother, Virginia Conway, divorced her first husband while pregnant and later married Thomas Conway, whom Silverstein believed was his real father. After this marriage ended, Virginia married Sid Silverstein, who adopted Thomas. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood, Silverstein was a shy boy who often faced bullying. His mother taught him a tough lesson. If he returned home crying after a fight, he would be punished. This instilled in him a need to defend himself, but it also set him on a path of violence. At just 19, Silverstein was sentenced to 4 years in San Quentin prison for armed robbery. However, his freedom was short-lived, as he was arrested again, this time with family members, for multiple robberies. In 1977, he received a 15-year sentence and was moved to a prison in Leavenworth, Kansas, where he connected with the Aryan Brotherhood, a gang known for its brutal criminal actions. In 1980, Silverstein's life took a nightmarish turn when he was convicted of murdering another inmate, Danny Atwell, who allegedly refused to smuggle drugs into the prison. This crime led to a life sentence and a transfer to a maximum security facility in Marion, Illinois, where he lived under constant watch. Unfortunately, his time there was filled with further violence. He received additional life sentences for murdering multiple inmates and even a correctional officer, Merle Klutz, whom he had killed in a chillingly orchestrated attack with the help of other inmates. By the time he died on May 11, 2019, Silverstein had spent 36 years in solitary confinement, earning a reputation as one of the most feared prisoners in the U.S. His death, caused by complications from heart surgery, left behind a legacy driven by violence and brutality. His story is a haunting reminder of how the darkness within can lead to a lifetime of chaos and tragedy. Number 9. Nico Allen Jenkins. Nico Allen Jenkins, born on September 16, 1986, in Omaha, Nebraska, is a name that haunts the memories of many. His childhood was filled with violence, and after a series of troubled events, he ended up in prison for carjacking, serving just over 10 years. Sadly, his mental health issues were largely ignored during his time in prison, leaving him to face his inner demons alone. When he was released on July 30, 2013, the complete lack of supervision proved disastrous. Just 2 weeks after his freedom, Jenkins began a terrifying killing spree that devastated Omaha. He lured 2 men, 26-year-old Juan Uribe Pena and 25-year-old Jorge C. Cajiga Ruiz, to a remote spot under false pretenses. In a shocking act of violence, he shot both men in the head and robbed them, leaving their bodies in a pickup truck. But Jenkins's violence didn't end there. His third victim was a fellow inmate, Curtis Bradford, whom he killed just a day after posing for a friendly picture with him. The most horrific moment came when Jenkins shot 33-year-old Andrea Kruger, a mother of 3, with a shotgun, leaving her dead on the side of the road. The gruesome nature of his crimes was caught on surveillance cameras, leading to his arrest on August 30, 2013. During questioning, Jenkins made a chilling confession, claiming he was influenced by an ancient serpent god named Apophis. adding an eerie twist to his already horrific story. His trial was filled with unpredictability. Jenkins chose to represent himself and often behaved erratically, speaking in strange tongues and laughing while victims' families shared their heartbreak. In the end, he was sentenced to death, igniting ongoing discussions about how the justice system handles inmates with mental health issues. For many, Jenkins became a symbol of fear and destruction, leaving families shattered and grieving. His story serves as a grim reminder of the importance of addressing mental health in the justice system. Number 8. Alvin Francis Karpis. Alvin Francis Karpis, originally named Alvin Francis Karpovicius, was born on August 10, 1907. He was a Canadian-American criminal with roots in Lithuania, and his life of crime started when he was just a boy. By the age of 10, Karpis found himself surrounded by gamblers, bootleggers, and various unsavory characters. He officially entered the criminal world at 19 when he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for attempted burglary. However, Karpis escaped and teamed up with other inmates to continue his criminal activities, forming a notorious partnership with Fred Barker while at the Kansas State Penitentiary. Together, they created the infamous Barker-Karpis gang, known for their daring bank robberies, kidnappings, and violent crimes. Karpis quickly gained a fearsome reputation, especially after the gang's involvement in the murder of Sheriff C. Roy Kelly. This brutal act cemented his status as a powerful figure in organized crime. The Barker-Karpis gang's reign of terror ended in 1936, following a series of violent confrontations with law enforcement. Their downfall was heavily covered in the news, especially after the kidnapping of Edward Bremer, which caught the attention of President Franklin Roosevelt and spurred the FBI into action. Karpis was captured on May 1, 1936, in New Orleans and faced a swift trial, receiving a life sentence. He spent 26 years in Alcatraz, becoming one of its longest-serving inmates. When he was released on parole in 1969, he found a world transformed since his time behind bars. Unfortunately, his criminal record made it difficult for him to get a passport, leading him to move to Spain in search of a quieter life. Karpis died on August 26, 1979. Initially thought to have taken his own life, it was later revealed he passed away from natural causes, marking the end of a life shaped by crime and infamy. Number 7. Charles Bronson. Michael Gordon Peterson, better known as Charles Bronson, was born on December 6, 1952. He is infamous as one of the most feared figures in British prison history. His story starts with a troubled childhood that set the stage for his later violent behavior. Even in his youth, Bronson showed a penchant for aggression, often getting into street fights that earned him a reputation as a tough fighter. His descent into crime took a sharp turn in 1974 when he attempted to rob a post office in Luton, armed with a sawed-off shotgun. This daring attempt led to a violent shootout with police, injuring several officers before he was caught. His trial revealed not just his unpredictable behavior, but also his contempt for authority. He disrupted court proceedings, attacked prison guards, and exhibited violent outbursts, earning him a reputation as a truly dangerous criminal. Deemed mentally unstable due to his actions, he was sent to Broadmoor, a high-security psychiatric hospital. However, his aggression continued there as well. He assaulted fellow patients and even took hostages. It was at Broadmoor that Bronson adopted the name of the famous Hollywood actor, hoping to create a more memorable persona for himself. As his notoriety grew, authorities tightened security around him. Bronson was moved between various maximum security prisons, including Parkhurst and Wakefield, each time facing strict measures to control his explosive behavior. Despite these harsh conditions, He used his time in confinement to undergo a physical transformation and find creative outlets. He even authored a book, Solitary Fitness, sharing insights into his life and fitness methods. His most notorious incident occurred in 1998, when he took 2 inmates hostage at HMP Birmingham, demanding a helicopter for his escape. The standoff lasted for hours and showcased both his boldness and the chaos he could create even while imprisoned. Today, Charles Bronson remains a symbol of defiance in the prison system, leaving behind a legacy that is both feared and intriguing. Number 6. Richard Lee McNair. Richard Lee McNair, born on December 19, 1958, is no ordinary criminal. He is infamous for his daring prison escapes that have made him a legend. McNair's journey into crime began with a failed robbery that led to a murder conviction in 1987. Rather than accept his fate in prison, he became obsessed with escape, displaying an incredible knack for evading capture. His first escape was like something out of a magic show. McNair managed to free himself from his handcuffs using just lip balm and sheer determination. Although he was soon recaptured, this initial escape fueled his heart's desire for freedom. 4 years later, he pulled off another escape, navigating through ventilation shafts with the stealth of a ghost. But it was his third escape in April 2006 that truly marked him as a master of evasion. In a bold move, McNair hid among piles of used postal mail bags, leaving authorities puzzled. When a police officer spotted him jogging near a railway, McNair quickly thought on his feet, claiming he was simply out for exercise and staying at a nearby hotel. His quick thinking allowed him to slip away once more, eventually making his way into Canada, where he continued to dodge the law. McNair's exploits earned him a spot on Canada's 15 Most Wanted list multiple times. However, his luck ran out in late 2007 when a vigilant officer recognized a suspicious van. A chase ensued, leading to McNair's capture. Today, he is imprisoned at ADX Florence, a supermax facility known for its extremely tight security, where inmates spend 23 hours a day in isolation. Despite his current confinement, McNair's legacy as a clever escape artist continues to captivate the public's imagination, embodying the idea of a criminal always staying one step ahead of the law. Number 5. Charles Edmund Cullen. Charles Edmund Cullen is a shocking example of betrayal in a profession meant to heal. As a nurse in various hospitals in New Jersey, Cullen concealed his terrible actions behind a caring facade. Over 16 years, he confessed to killing 40 patients, with 29 confirmed murders. The fact that someone who was supposed to save lives chose to take them sent ripples of horror through the healthcare community. Cullen's dark story began to come to light on December 12, 2003, when he was arrested. At first, he faced charges for 1 murder and 1 attempted murder. During questioning, he shockingly admitted to killing 2 patients at Somerset Medical Center and hinted that the true number of victims could be as high as 40. As the courtroom drama unfolded, Cullen showed no remorse, even taunting the judge. In April 2004, he pleaded guilty to 13 murders and 2 attempted murders, all done through lethal injections. In a controversial deal, prosecutors chose not to seek the death penalty in exchange for his cooperation. Cullen promised to help identify more victims, exposing how deeply he had failed to uphold his promise to do no harm. On March 2, 2006, he received 11 life terms in prison, with no chance of parole. He remains locked up at New Jersey State Prison in Trenton, where he will stay for the rest of his life. Cullen's story serves as a chilling reminder of how trust can be shattered in places that are supposed to heal. Number 4. Lucy Letby. Lucy Letby, born on January 4, 1990, has become one of the most notorious figures in recent British history. Widely known as one of the most dangerous infant killers, her journey began in 2011 when she became a neonatal nurse at Chester Hospital. At first, she was celebrated for her commitment to caring for vulnerable babies. However, she soon became linked to an alarming number of infant deaths. Dr. Stephen Brary, a senior doctor at the hospital, noticed a troubling rise in the deaths of babies in her care. He tried to raise alarm bells with hospital officials in 2015 and 2016, but his concerns were mainly ignored, leading to horrific consequences. As deaths continued to rise, colleagues grew increasingly uneasy with Letby's behavior. She was often reported as dismissive or even hostile in critical moments. By May 2017, the police began looking into the neonatal unit at Chester. Letby was arrested in July 2018, a crucial step towards uncovering the shocking truth. Her trial began in October 2022 at Manchester Crown Court, revealing disturbing evidence against her. Handwritten notes found in her home revealed a grim view of herself. Despite facing 22 charges, she insisted she was innocent and claimed she had always aimed to provide the best care for the infants. But the prosecution presented powerful evidence that Letby had intentionally harmed at least 12 newborns, using methods as horrifying as injecting them with air. After a lengthy 10-month trial, on August 18, 2023, the jury found her guilty on 14 of the 22 charges. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole, meaning she will spend the rest of her life behind bars. This heartbreaking case has rocked the medical community and the public, forcing a critical reevaluation of neonatal care protocols to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. Number 3. Rodney Alcala. Rodney Alcala's life is a chilling story of violence that began in San Antonio, Texas, on August 23, 1943. Born Rodrigo Jacques Alcala Bucor, his early years were filled with chaos and neglect. After moving to Los Angeles, his life took a darker turn. He joined the Army at 17, searching for direction, but was discharged after suffering a psychological breakdown and being diagnosed with a severe personality disorder. Despite his troubled past, Alcala managed to project a charming image. He took advantage of this to lure innocent women, posing as a photographer under the name John Berger in New York City. He promised them exciting modeling opportunities, but it was all a deceitful trap. Among his first victims was 23-year-old Cornelia Crilly, who was horrifically raped and strangled in June 1971. Another victim, Ellen Hover, disappeared in July 1977 after meeting him, a meeting that turned fatal. In a chilling confession in 2012, Alcala admitted to these murders, among others. Though he was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, the pain and grief he caused continue to haunt the families and communities affected by his actions. Even after his capture, Alcala's crimes remind us of the evil that can hide behind a charming smile. His story serves as a warning about the dangers that often lurk in plain sight. Number 2. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy is one of the most notorious criminals in history, striking fear even in the toughest prisons. He grew up with an abusive father, which shaped his disturbing path of lies and horror. After a brief time in prison in 1968, his actions took an even darker turn. From 1972 to 1978, he lured young men to his home, where he committed terrible crimes. Gacy led a double life, a successful businessman and a beloved clown, hiding his true nature behind a friendly mask. When police searched his property, they uncovered a grim secret: a makeshift graveyard containing the remains of 26 young men. They relied on dental records and X-rays to identify the victims, highlighting the shocking reality of Gacy's actions. His trial in 1980 gripped the nation. While his defense argued that he had multiple personalities, the prosecution painted him as a cold-blooded killer. With a mountain of evidence against him, Gacy was convicted of 33 murders. Though his conviction brought some measure of justice to the victims' families, it left a deep fear in the community. Places like Norwood Park Township still bear the scars of Gacy's evil deeds, a chilling reminder that darkness can hide behind even the most ordinary faces. Number 1. Dennis Rader, BTK Killer. Dennis Rader, known as the BTK Killer, was born in Kansas in 1945. From a young age, he dreamed of torturing and murdering women. On January 15, 1974, he unleashed terror on the Otero family: Joseph, 38, Julie, 33, and their children, Joseph Jr. and Josephine, 11 years old. Rader's brutality was unimaginable as he bound, tortured, and killed the entire family, marking the start of a string of murders that would horrify the community. The nightmare continued in April 1974, when Rader targeted 21-year-old Catherine Bright, using the same cruel methods of binding and strangling her. Over the following years, he took more victims, including Maureen Hedge and Vicki Wegerly, all while appearing to live a normal life. By day, he was the president of his church and a Cub Scout leader, successfully concealing his monstrous nature. As the number of victims grew, pressure on law enforcement increased. But Rader's need for attention eventually led to his capture. In 2005, after sending a disc to a television station that detailed his next target, investigators traced it back to him. The nation was shocked to learn the identity of the BTK killer. In a chilling conclusion, Rader was charged with 10 murders and sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole. Today, he remains in the El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas. His horrific legacy continues to haunt those who lived through his terror. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to check out more videos we've made for you, click on one of them on the screen or check out the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.